Hello everyone and welcome to day 2 of week 7. Now, if you remember from the day 1 video, I said this week we were focusing on chapter 4 and chapter 21. Now, in the day 1 video, I did talk about and discuss chapter 4, which was dealing with medical terminology. So for the day 2 video, we're obviously going to be focusing on chapter 21. So chapter 21 is when we will talk about the workings of the human body, and those fall into two categories. They can either be anatomy or physiology. Anatomy is the study of the structure of an organism, for example, the human body, where physiology is the study of the functions of the organism. So anatomy is going to talk about our organism and our whole body in and of itself, where physiology will talk about the way that the body works and the functions that it has. Beyond that, we also need to look at the development of diseases and disorders within our human bodies. The study of diseases and disorders is called pathophysiology. So patho means disease of, and physiology is again looking at the functions of the human organism or a organism. So looking at the diseases and disorders of that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the human body and its levels of organization. So the human body is organized by increasing levels of organization. Those levels are atoms, molecules, cells, tissues, and organs. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at each of those. We are going to start with the atoms. So atoms are found at the most basic level of organization. Atoms consist of at least one proton, one neutron, and one electron. A proton is a positively charged particle. So that means if you looked at it, it would have almost like a plus sign to it. It's a positive. Where a neutron does not have an electrical charge at all. It is literally just a blank particle. Your electron is the negatively charged particle. So you have proton, which is blue for positive, neutron, which is red for neutral, and the black electrons on the outside are the negative particles. The proton and the neutron make up what we call the atomic mass of an atom, and they're found in the nucleus, while the electrons revolve around the nucleus on the outside. When all three combine together in different combinations, it creates what we call an element. Next, we have molecules, and molecules are chemical combinations of two or more atoms. Most one that people think of right away is going to be like H2O. It's 2 parts hydrogen to 1 part oxygen. Molecules can move and this means that they can form into either solids, liquids, or gases. And I like to use water here as my example of a molecule, which is made up of 2 or more atoms. And water can be a solid, a liquid, and a gas. Think about it. When you get water out of a faucet, for example, that's your liquid. You add heat to it, and it creates steam, which actually is a gas. Or you could freeze it, and it becomes a solid piece of ice, which is solid water. Solid, liquid, and gas. Now, multiple molecules can combine, and when those combine, they make what we know as cells. Excuse me. Cells are the most basic unit of life, and this is considered the building block of the human body. The cells store information, and they use molecules to perform work that creates waste that needs to be disposed of. Our bodies have several types of cells. Some of the examples that we have are bone cells, nerve cells, fat cells, reproductive cells, skeletal cells, blood cells, and smooth muscle cells. Now, every cell in our body has three common parts. It has a cell membrane, a cytoplasm, and a nucleus. So essentially that's an inside, a middle, and a core. I'm sorry, an outside, a middle, and a core. Now, when we get together a group of cells, they create tissues. And those cells that group together share the same function and the same purpose. So we have four types of tissues in our bodies. We have epithelial cells, which you find in like your skin, connective tissue cells, which you typically find connected to bones or tendons that move, muscle cells, which can be found in things such as your heart or your stomach or any of your internal organs, and nerve cells or nerve tissues, which can be found in your nervous system and in your spinal cord. The last piece that we talk about is your organs. Now, organs are similar to that of tissues, and they are made up of a group of tissues, cells working together. Organs are created to form groups of tissues that have a similar function. So you have a group of tissues that can make up your liver, your bladder, your lungs, your large intestine and your small intestine, your pancreas, your spleen, your heart, your gallbladder, your stomach, your kidneys, and your brain. And with all of our organs, we then have them work together for a common purpose. And when they do that, they form what we call a body system. Now, our human bodies, have 11 different body systems. We have the integumentary system, or your skin, the skeletal system, which deals with your bones, the muscular system, which deals with all of your muscles, nervous system deals with the nerves and tissues, endocrine system is going to deal with your pancreas and your kidneys, cardiovascular is going to be dealing with your heart, blood and lymphatic systems are obviously dealing with your blood, respiratory system deals with your lungs, digestive system deals with your small and large intestines as well as the rectum, urinary system is going to deal with the bladder, and then your reproductive system. Now, all body systems work together in order to maintain and support what we call homeostasis in the body. Homeostasis is the balance or the equilibrium within our body. It is also important to understand that the body works in one of two processes. Either it's an active or a passive transport. Active transport uses cellular energy to carry materials from one area to another, where passive transport does not require cellular energy to move or carry items, but it does require diffusion, osmosis, and filtration. Alright guys, that is all I have for you for this day 2 video. As always, I still want you to make sure that you are reading chapter 21 on your own so that way you are prepared for class and any of the other quizzes or homework that you may have this week, not only in the lab class, but also your lecture class. If you do have any questions or concerns, please make sure that you bring them to the lab class on day 2 so that way I can hopefully address them before we head into the weekend. Alright guys, that is it for me. Have a wonderful day and I will see you on day 2. Bye-bye.